I think the key was not to say no. I think most committees are formed for the purpose of saying no. I thought, wouldn't it be interesting to see what would happen if the answer was yes?
I know this is probably going to sound very simplistic, but the prayer that is the motto of South Church, put us where you want us, show us what to do, is what I pray.
The Presbytery itself wasn't necessarily ready to say yes, but I was able to encourage them to say, there's more than one way of being church in this presbytery, and we can experiment. And gave South some space to be able to have their journey of discernment.
I think, though, that underlying South's ability to make this transition, there is a peculiar marriage of people who are pragmatic, progressive, and prophetic.
Is this what you believe God is calling you to? Is managing and maintaining your building a part of your calling? And for some churches, the answer is a genuine yes. And for some churches, the answer is no, we're just being depleted. And there's not going to be one right answer because there is more than one way to do church. But to really work with that session to say, what is the answer for you now?
The session is the ruling body, and I think that an awful lot of our colleagues forget that. And they take the responsibility on themselves, and they take the blame on themselves, and they take the praise on themselves. And I will tell you right now that we are where we are because of the session of South Presbyterian Church.
We were so blessed with our session. Those people are brilliant. And they had to pray. They prayed about everything. They prayed and prayed and prayed.
And Deb encouraged them too.
Yes, they got some. There was some real wisdom there collectively.
Yeah.
That worked.
We were in deep trouble. I've seen the growth of a church designed like a bell-shaped curve, and we were curving at the bottom, which was frightening. When I was on the very first committee that talked about that, and even people in the committee said, leaving the building is not an option. We finally acknowledged that we are not donating our money, making our pledge to support a building, and that's where the majority of our money was going. It's a lovely building, holds memories for so many of us, but it does not honor the people who built this congregation to spend our money on the building and let the congregation die. And that was the bottom line.
We could no longer pay the bills and had to find a way to keep people together that wanted to be together.
So yes, they lost a building with about 50 years of deferred maintenance, and I know it was their sacred place, and they have gained so much. They have gained even more of the city of Rochester as their sacred place.
I think that's really what the church should be about, is creating these environments where people can grow.
The Presbytery approved the sale of the building, and they're investing the funds to fund this new ministry of Acts of Faith. It's Shalat, subsidized housing, it's the Psych Center, it's St. John's, it's what happens at the diner, it's the Monroe Milers, it's food on Monroe Avenue, it's all those things. South had space to really discover and incarnate the Acts of Faith model. There's not one right answer. It's really that period of discernment of saying, God, what are you calling us to do and to be next? And then, who is our neighbor? I think the key is to not let fear stop you. There will be churches that move directly into the future and new things, and then there will be churches that have to make very careful decisions about what they're going to leave behind and what they're going to take with them. And then there will be churches who really don't have the capacity to do that, and God is blessing each and every one of those ministries and is walking each step of the way with every congregation. And so you can do it knowing that God is with you and blessing you.